Hello everyone, it's Richard Lewis here again with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about what happens when former pros and prominent figures start pushing crazy conspiracy theories out into the mainstream at a time when the online era is coming under more scrutiny than it has before because of things like smoke bugs being used. Obviously, the coaching cheating scandal is out there. Probably not a good idea, is it really? Well, this is exactly what the legendary former Na'Vi player Starix did. You can see here, this is his VK page. For those that don't know, VK is sort of the Russian equivalent of Facebook. And I can't translate it for you there, so you'll just have to take my word for it. But it was basically the usual clout-chasing nonsense from the former Na'Vi players. I mean, as a group, they have never really adjusted to the fact that they are no longer in the limelight. And you've probably noticed it with, like, people like Senya do videos. Oh, Source 2 is definitely coming in the summer. How did that one work out? You know, Zeus, oh, I've got some insider info, tune in tomorrow. You know, it's pathetic, but these guys consistently need to, like, hitch themselves to whatever's being talked about and be like, oh, yeah, we know all about it. We know more than you, just so people sort of follow them and pay attention to them. It's not enough that they're just legends in the scene in their own right because of their former playing achievements. But anyway, you can see, first of all, just to underline what I'm saying, he said, I knew about this bug, referring to the coaching bug, 4 years ago, like many other people. At that time, I was more interested in what was happening with the players, and it was more important for me to switch between players. Now the coach is sent to lie on the map areas to give information about the rotation, smiley face. So, in other words, he claims he knew about the bug all along, which begs the question, if you care so much about cheating and you care so much about the scene and you're aware of a bug for 4 years, you're complicit in all of the cheating, you fucking idiot. You know, you've allowed it. You've enabled it. Did you try and contact Valve? Did you try and contact the tournament organizer? Did you tweet about it publicly? No. So it begs the question, is this true? Did he know about it for 4 years? In which case, you can throw a lot of the blame and criticism his way. Or is he just lying for attention? I'll tell you guys, it's the latter. It always is with these guys. But that's not even the important part. He then peddles a conspiracy theory that belongs on the Vax Sucks subreddit or a Dan M video, and it makes no logical sense. But I'll go ahead and read it to you anyway. He says that hang on, sorry, I've got the translation laid out here. Here it is. Yes. It is, in my opinion, in the topic of Flusha, that Volvo, meaning Valve, I assume, found cheats on him and could not officially admit that people on LAN, having won a couple of majors, used cheats because this would kill the game and Valve in general. So in other words, he peddles the conspiracy theory as a former pro, predicated on absolutely nothing except his own gut feeling that this might be true, that Valve actively covered up Flusha cheating at majors. Now, a lot of people have accused Flusha of cheating. There was a period in time when Fnatic were the best team in the world and Flusha was one of the best players in the world, and he had a lot of clips that people couldn't explain by normal play, a lot of, you know, what they call aim locks now, although we didn't really know what to call them back then. Initially, it sort of became aim lock over time. Info lock was another term that came out. And people couldn't really explain them. Flusha himself said it's just his style. He lifts his mouse a lot. You know, we got all the memes out of it, right? But can anyone explain to me then why Valve, having discovered that someone had cheated and by, in essence, defrauded them of money having done that and undermining the entire competitive integrity of their scene, why would they cover that up? What is the benefit there? You have allowed someone to essentially steal money from you and your business partners, and you cover it up because of the reputational loss, which, if that was ever brought to light publicly, which these things leak all the time, right? that would do you more damage in the long run. That would make you complicit with a potentially criminal act. I've never understood the idea that Valve wouldn't ban players that cheated. Meanwhile, of course, at the extreme end, we have situations like Jampy, Dreamer, players that there is no evidence that they ever cheated beyond them being tenuously associated with a backband account, and yet they are banned for life from the majors. What do you think they would do to someone then that actively cheated at an event that they ran and put up the prize money for? What do you think would happen? Well, of course, they would take action. You would have to protect your product, to protect your money. You would be legally entitled to recoup some of that money. So that conspiracy theory is one of the stupidest ones ever peddled. And of course, you see all these morons, shitters that can't get out of silver, shitters who think they should be global after playing for 400 hours. Everyone cheats. 10 spin botters in a game. Meh. Of course, Valve are covering it up. Pros can't be that good. It's pathetic to see a pro player come out and peddle this, predicated on nothing bar his opinion. Now, he did reply to me when I pointed it out. I basically summarized what he said because it made draft 5, and I screenshotted the article and tweeted it out. And he said you can delete your translator and just adapt it for your wishes. And I said, so you're pretending you didn't say that? And he actually said, all my opinions are based around Flusha in a lot of videos that I can't explain. Moves pre-aimed, some positions in the smoke. I would say it's aim lock. I think that Valve found some cheats, but it was too late to make an announcement because he already had won the tournament. If they will announce it, it means they can't protect the pro scene. Maybe he wins without cheats, but he was using it before. So it's like he denies he said what I said he said, and then goes on to say what he said again in a different medium directly to me. It's listen, being a pro player doesn't mean you're a fucking genius a lot of the time, guys. Like, the reality is they're very good at certain things, but you'd be amazed how many pro players can't even install a fucking config, or how many pro players lack sort of any any sort of ability to read social cues despite having to play in a team on the regular. They're just good at counterstrike, a lot of them. That's just the reality. And this guy's actively denying what he says and then goes on to repeat what I claimed he said. I mean, you can't make this up, can you? Now, in regards to Starix coming out and speaking out about cheats, by the way, I find this unbelievable. Like, the Na'Vi players have zero rights to ever speak about cheating or bad behavior in the scene. Because, yes, in 2010, when they set a 1.6 prize money record with almost, I think it was $250,000 in prize money, which was, huge at the time. And they were unquestionably one of the greatest teams of all time. And also, when you consider the background they all came from and how it was put together and how it was bankrolled by Arbalest and stuff, it is one of the most insane success stories of all time. But before MIBR became this poisonous team that let money and ego and fame and success go to their head, there was Na'Vi. They were the first team to really do it. And they were one of the first professional teams I ever saw actually get caught and called out for cheating. And they were just dirtbags. The way they rocked up to tournaments and behaved, the way they treated their fellow pros. I mean, I think there's that famous image, isn't there, of the Na'Vi player flipping the bird to the Danes in MTW after making a clutch. You might think that's good. Whatever. That's just part of it, though. They had absolutely nothing but disdain for everyone else in the scene. They were disgusting. The way they treated media, the way they treated fans, the way they treated admins, the way they treated tournament organizers. They were garbage people. They were absolute trash. And I can say that because I was there and I was on the receiving end of some of this. But forget all that. Let's talk about the cheating. I mean, again, a Na'Vi player calling out cheats and conspiracy theories blows my fucking mind. Little history lesson. The Polish players, hugely popular. Well, Na'Vi and used to be pals with them, like sort of the Eastern Europe, kind of a bond, coming over to Europe, traveling together. They were tenured professionals. They used to be friends. But then Senya, who played for Na'Vi, got caught ghosting against again, which was the name of the Polish players after they got fucked over again by another sponsor. I think it was Vitriolic, if I remember correctly. a South African organisation that basically fucked them over. But anyway, Senua looked at the big screen on video during a clutch. And Taz always maintained that not only did he know they did it, but it cost them the friendship. They couldn't be friends after that because they cheated in a high profile setting. Then the one I've talked about on By the Numbers before, there was the instance where a Na'Vi player kicked Robban's PC when he was playing alongside Get Right, alongside Forrest in an SK gaming match. They were on opposite sides of a row, and during a clutch, one of the Na'Vi players kicked the PC so hard it disconnected his keyboard. And like, Get Right is one of the nicest dudes in the scene. He doesn't have a temper. He has like... The worst Get Right ever does is he gets sarcastic. That's about it, right? That's like his level of anger and vitriol. Well, he was fucking livid in a now deleted video, which I remember very distinctly. He was absolutely irate because he couldn't believe, again, that fellow pros would do this. This is cheating, by the way, guys. If you can kick someone's PC to negatively affect an outcome so you win a round, you are cheating. This shouldn't have been a redo of the round. This should have been, right, you docked all further rounds in the game, you lose, fuck off. But Na'Vi was so powerful and so prominent in the scene at that time, they got to do whatever they wanted. Admins bowed and scraped because Zero Gravity, who was a wealthy man by this point, was a huge mouthpiece in 1.6, and people were terrified again of, tell me if this sounds familiar, guys, of a huge fan base being leveraged against you, boycotting your tournament, threatening your staff, so people let Na'Vi get away with murder. These are just a handful of incidents, by the way, that I'm picking out. There were many, many more. Also, here we go. Let's talk about the time, and this is just bad behaviour, just to sort of make you understand why the likes of Starix can never speak authoritatively on these issues. Starix, this was the Na'Vi team, where they went to Copenhagen Games, turned up late for a game, right, against BX3. And this is in 2013, and again, I was here. I saw all this behaviour with my own eyes. They turned up late. They said to the admins, by the way, who gives a fuck if we're late? We're Na'Vi, not like you can play without us. They got defaulted a map for turning up late and derailing the entire tournament schedule. And then they fucking cried about it and said the admins had behaved in some unbelievably egregious fashion. At the same tournament, they actually ended up pulling out altogether of Copenhagen Games. And in this photo here, there are photos that don't get publicised. I don't know if HLTV decided not to or whatever, where the players gathered around a female admin and were threatening her. And I saw that. And in fact, I think I had video footage. It might even be up there on one of the old YouTube channels over at Cadred. But they were absolutely livid, because what had happened was the rules had stated that if maps were tied, it would go to rounds or something like that. And basically, there'd been a three-way tie in the Na'Vi group at Copenhagen Games. And because obviously that, when you take into consideration they had a map removed by default, this really fucked them over if you worked out the standings in a certain way. So if you worked it out in the way they thought it should be done, Na'Vi went through in first place. But if you did it the way the admins had stated in the rules it needed to be done, Na'Vi were third. So they gathered around the admins, threatened them, bullied them, cajoled them. I've never seen anything like it from pro players and admins. And Copenhagen Games nearly changed their mind, which would have fucked over another big team, namely Fnatic. Anyway, the owner of Copenhagen Games himself had to come down and basically resolved the situation and said, no, we're going to uphold the rules that were outlaid at the start of the tournament. And Copenhagen Games pulled out of the tournament and then said, oh, we need to make a player union, put out some shitty manifesto saying that some people aren't fit to run tournaments when they'd acted like cunts the entire time. And nothing came of that because they had no intention of ever making a player union. Instead, what they had an intention of doing was making Copenhagen Games look bad to the 1.6 community. So let me just tell you, as someone that knows the history, as someone who was there at the time, as someone who was invited to these events directly and saw all of this with my own eyes, Na'Vi never get to speak about anything. They were some of the dirtiest players in 1.6 history, and also in 2010 happened to be some of the most successful. But as they sort of ebbed away and made crazy amounts of money for the scene at the time, they turned into these assholes. And now, as I say, they think they're an authority and can talk about stuff like cheating and negative behavior. No, guys, you absolutely don't. You have been publicly caught cheating on more than one occasion. You forfeit the right to talk about whether Valve were involved in some conspiracy theory or not. Just to wrap it up as well, just for the fucking chef's kiss at the end of this, right? Starix talking about cheating bad. I knew about the coaching bug. Why didn't we stop it? Bloody hell, Valve don't care. Flusha cheated. Conspiracy theory. He then goes and joins Hard Legion as a coach. For those that haven't been keeping up with the coaching scandal and everything that's been going on in regards to the coaches that are cheating, Hard Legion had 2 separate coaches cheating, and not just like cheating in one round, cheating in a pistol round, literally sat on the server, fully abusing it for the entirety of games, actually had a win over Na'Vi by cheating. Great brand loyalty there, Starix. You really are a cool dude. And most people agree that based on how they were playing and rotating around the map, absolutely the players were complicit as well. Now, I can't say one way or the other. We don't have voice comms, but out of all of the demos I've looked at, all of the footage I've seen, Hard Legion look the worst, like the players actually knew. And I don't know if that'll be factored in the ESIC investigation. But to then join that team 2 days or whatever it was after you're calling out cheats and conspiracy theories of cheats and how wrong cheating is, it's fucking mind blowing, guys. Like, this guy, it's whatever. Fuck it. That's the video, isn't it? That's all I need to say. Probably said too much, but I thought you'd get a kick out of it because, you know, the CS scene just throws up these stories and these like random acts of madness that like make no sense to me. This is the state of things. Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, there you go. Bit of history for you. Something I thought you might get a kick out of. As always, guys, we've had lots of new subscribers and everything to the channel. I love it. Please share it with your friends. Please leave a comment for the algorithm. Thanks so much for all the support. You can also follow me on all of this stuff that's coming up on the screen if you want to. It's entirely up to you. Most people say avoid me on Twitter. Who knows? But anyway, that's the vid. Much love to you all. See you on the next one. Peace.